we got a legend here. I'm talking about BX Native. Just chilling with VP Harris not too long ago. He hosted the BET Hip Hop Awards for third consecutive year. Heavy hitter, legend, Mr. Fat Joe.
You know, thank you. I resigned as host of the BET Hip Hop Awards because, it's real shit. 2 Chainz said I've been monopolizing, so he said, yo, let me host. I know I could be a good host. I said, you know what, my brother? You could be the host next year.
You passed the torch officially?
Yeah, the 2 Chainz. I mean, BET don't know that. You know, but, you know, sidebar with 2 Chainz. Yeah. He was like, yo, I really want to do that. I was like, no question.
I love that. I feel like Chainz would be a good host, man. I mean, you held it down for 3 years, but it makes sense. You passed the torch because now you can focus on the music. And that's why we hear new album, first one in nearly 15 years.
Peace, you know what this is. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell. Also, make sure you donate to me if you can. Cash.App on the screen, PayPal on the screen. Let's get to it. Now, family, Fat Joe just announced that he will be resigning from hosting the BET Awards after hosting it for 3 consecutive times. I don't understand how FBA is taking this as some type of victory, like y'all forced him out. Y'all didn't force him out. Like he said, BET doesn't even know that he's resigning. He had a side conversation with 2 Chainz, and now he's stepping back because 2 Chainz asked him to, and now he's putting his thumb on the scale to make sure that 2 Chainz is the next host. So how is this a victory for y'all? Y'all pressure didn't get to him. First of all, y'all been trying to get Fat Joe out the culture for like what, the last 5 years, and it has not worked. Fat Joe has hosted the BET Awards 3 times in a row, and not only did he host it 3 times in a row, he hosted it 3 times in a row in very important years. The year before the 50th anniversary of hip hop, the year of the 50th, excuse me, I said anniversary, I'm going to say birthday. Year of the 50th birthday of hip hop, and the year after. What more do he need to do? He's just being greedy now. Come on, if he hosted for a 4th time. Come on, you already got the record 3 times in a row. You got to pass that torch. So again, I don't understand how FBA is counting this as some type of victory, like y'all made him resign. Y'all didn't make him resign from nothing. Because the way you would show a real victory is if BET said, we're parting ways with him. And then they try to make it seem like it was a mutual decision. Then I would say, all right, now y'all may got something. But him doing it on his own without even telling BET and saying, well, yeah, 2 Chainz need to be the next host. That's not a victory for y'all. Because again, Fat Joe got a million things going on and y'all trying to stop him and y'all have not stopped not one of them. And y'all not going to stop one of them. Y'all going to stay mad. What he said about FBA is the truth. Y'all broke, y'all haters, and your leader's a bozo. Like, look at your leader, Tariq. In fact, I wasn't going to do this, but I think I need to do this. I'm going to show you the complete timeline of FBA. For all the new people, you need to see this. This is the complete timeline of FBA. And before I give you the complete timeline, I'm going to give you some of the examples of why FBA is a hate group. Some oldies but goodies, maybe even some new ones. Who knows? I'm just going to pick rabbit out the hat. Here we go, family.
And shout out to Dallas. Dallas did the best they could do under the circumstances of white supremacy. And then they got another negress on the stand, I don't even know if she was a real friend of Amber Geiger, but this was a woman who was another cop, another black female who was a cop, and she was a Kenyan immigrant. So she's up there caping for her. And again, this is why I'm hard on a lot of these immigrant coons. See, it's bad enough dealing with domestic coons, but when we have to deal with immigrant coons like that, because see, the crackhead is on crack, I get it, they'll do anything for crack. But this damn negress cop knows better. She knows better, and she knew what the hell she was doing. See, a lot of these immigrant coons, we're going to have to come to the reality. People think that I'm hard on them, but I have to be hard on these immigrant coons because they've been collaborating with these goddamn white supremacists against us for the last 500 to 600 damn years, and it's a fucking problem. It's a goddamn problem. And if folks don't like us speaking out about it, well, do something about your fucking coons. Because she got on there with a straight face and a clear mind and threw Black America under the bus by caping for this racist, genocidal bitch. I want everybody to keep your same divisive energy when you do something negative. I'm tired of Black Americans absorbing every other group's negativity. Their negativity becomes a part of Black culture. We're cutting that off. There's a video circulating, and I posted it. I don't know what country this is in. It's some Black folks. I don't know what language they're talking, but it's outside the U.S. I don't know where it is. I think somewhere in the Caribbean. On Twitter, I said possibly Cuba, but a lot of people corrected me on that, and that's why I said possibly, goddammit. But there was I don't know, it was outside of it was somewhere. They were outside, and it was a dead corpse in a casket, and there was some woman twerking on the corpse. There was a bunch of people standing around the corpse, and some woman was in the casket twerking on the corpse. And I said, look, they ain't us. That's some other group. Let's be clear. That's some other damn group. These are non-foundational Black Americans doing this ratchet garbage. And I've had a few immigrants get mad at me because of that. We got to stop absorbing everybody's ratchetness and negativity. A lot of stuff that becomes negative in Black society, we got to understand that's been brought over from other places. Certain things that becomes Black culture. Look at what becomes Black culture. When you think of Black culture, what do you think about? When you think of Black culture now. When you think of Black culture, ratchetness. People who can't talk worth a damn, people smoking and twerking. And when you look at those three main things, let's look at twerking, by the way. Twerking was something that was all that twerking and popping your ass in the streets. Where did that come from? That didn't even come from us. That came from the Caribbean. If we're going to be real, all this damn popping your ass in the streets, sisters weren't doing that back in the day. That was looked down upon. You had to carry yourself a certain way in Black society. All that twerking started in the late 80s. That twerking, it started in Miami. That's where that shit came from. It started from Caribbeans going to Miami, and that was part of the Caribbean culture. The carnival and you putting on an outfit and you popping your ass in the streets, that's a part of their culture. Which is cool. They would do that ceremoniously. That's part of their culture. Then they started bringing that to Miami. And, Miami started the bass music thing. And understand, Miami and Atlanta became almost the satellite of Miami because of the bass music scene. Remember, the early hip-hop music scene in Atlanta was really bass music. A lot of the bass music. The booty shaking music, and then the strip clubs and all that shit popped off, and then that became a part of Black culture. So that came from some outside shit. You understand? So we have to look at where a lot of this stuff comes from. All this popping your ass in. Now the shit looks, it's corny to me now. Everybody's popping your ass in the damn street. You dig? That's not a Black American thing. It became our thing because it was brought in by other folks. You dig? So stuff like that, for ceremonies, that's cool. But when it becomes a part of everyday culture, not cool. It's degrading now. Now it looks on it's on some other gutter type of shit now. When you just, that's all you do on Twitter, pop your ass. You go on black Twitter and black Instagram, and that's all you see. That's become a part of black culture. And then white people, they start mimicking it when they try to act black, is you got your ass cracked open. And that becomes a part of black culture. You understand? See, we have to look at where a lot of stuff comes from. And then when you point this stuff out, what people start doing, they start doing what I call Wakanda-splaining. We're all black, global black people, we black, everybody black, we got to stick together. See, that's Wakanda-splaining. See, now, when we talk about everybody hold your own nuts, all that ratchetness and niggas smoking left and right, again, that's some shit that comes from the Caribbean too. Niggas smoking back to back, smoking weed all fucking day. That was brought in too. We weren't doing that. But when we talk about rejecting negatives and looking out for ourselves, everybody wants to start Wakanda-splaining. Man, we all gotta fight the same struggle. We all gotta battle the white man. We all in this together. But black Americans, we're the only ones fighting white supremacy. Let's be real. When it comes to fighting white supremacy, the only people that's really, really fighting white supremacy are black people in America. Some Caribbeans, they get down. They used to, big time. When I'm talking about in the 1800s. But I'm talking about in modern times, right now, who's really fighting white supremacy? I'm talking about modern times. Don't start talking about Dessalines and all these cats, because that energy ain't there like it used to be. You dig? Somebody said New Orleans had twerking, but remember, New Orleans, that was a satellite for the Caribbean too. That's a major satellite for the Caribbean because of the French.
We're getting up on this story right now, and we're trying to find some information on the woman. They got her, she's arrested, but they're not releasing any information on her name, which I find very odd. So they're not letting anybody know who this woman is, but this is a quote unquote black woman. But when you see there's some footage of it, and it looks like a tether, to be honest. We're getting some real strong tether vibes here. And just the fact that she would try to do something like that in, Atlanta, it's a lot of non-FBA people down there in Atlanta. And what the hell is this about? A lot of these folks who are non-FBA, who are quote unquote black, we know they have a lot of contempt for our black icons. I don't see an FBA person doing anything like this. You understand? I don't see it. I don't know. I'm not saying yes, no, or whatever, but I smell some Jollof. I smell Bammy in this situation. You understand? Something is off about this. It's weird. And just the way the person looked, the woman had some real tethery vibes. So what's this about? Because we know that a lot of stuff that goes on, a lot of this weird stuff are done by outsiders.
In 1981, Belize, they got their independence, early 80s. So a lot of Belizean people came to LA. LA is full of Belizean people, especially South Central in particular. South Central LA is full of Belizeans. There's about 30, 40,000 Belizeans in South Central LA. A lot of Belizeans. Do you know a lot of the gang members in LA come from Belizean backgrounds? A lot of folks don't know that. Especially the Bloods. Because when they came over, you had the Crips starting. The Crips, yeah, a lot of those Bloods are Belizeans. Yeah, a lot of Belizeans are in LA, and a lot of them are Bloods. A lot of them are Bloods. So yeah, and also it's close to Colombia, so that drug pipeline, you dig? But a lot of Bloods come from Belizean backgrounds, and some Crips too. I think some of the Harlem Crips, some of them were founded by some of those Belizean immigrants, from what I remember. It was the Harlem Crips. I know very few Crips, but a lot of Bloods have Belizean backgrounds. I know OT Genesis is Belizean. Yeah, I think he's Belizean. Also, a lot of Belizeans went to Chicago. A lot of Belizeans went to Chicago in the 60s, too. In the 60s and the 70s. A lot of them went to Chicago. And a lot of other immigrants started to come into some of these urban areas in the 60s and 70s. So now, remember, you got some of these immigrant groups, especially in Belize, they have their own cultural differences there. You got the Creoles and the Garifus, I forgot, certain types of different immigrant groups within Belize, because Belize is a very small country and it's surrounded by these other Spanish countries. So it's a lot of mixtures there and a lot of beefs and differences and stresses and stripes and shit down there. So remember, a lot of folks come over, they come here with some of that same tribalism within their culture. So again, Garifuna, right, thank you. That's the word, yeah, Garifuna, yeah. So remember, a lot of folks come over and we're another tribe. We're another tribe to them. So a lot of time when niggas start beefing, there's nothing for a motherfucker to blast this dude. That's nigga, he ain't me. That nigga's from another tribe. So that's when we see all these immigrant groups come over, people who believe they're from other tribes. See, we're on some, hey, our brothers, black on black crime, but they're like, I'm Creole. I'm from a whole different tribe than that nigga. I'll blow his fucking brains out. So a lot of that comes from that. See, we got to understand the history of all this stuff, man. We got to understand the history of all this stuff and where a lot of this stuff comes from. You dig? Why it's so easy we see, well, it's black on black. Why our black brother shooting our black brother? No, this dude is from a whole different culture. See, behind closed doors, that's the thing. Out in the open, sometimes we like, yeah, this is just another black person, but behind closed doors, because I used to live in South Central LA. I would go to cats' houses and niggas be having Belizean flags in the house and they got candles and shit. They mama practicing all types of different types of shit. And I'm like, whoa, you never know until you go into somebody's house what their family is into. You dig? That's why LA is a very funny place. I've talked about before how like places down in South Central, a lot of motherfuckers don't even admit to being black. You know, I've talked about this before when it comes to casting for roles, and I've talked about when we were casting for, I think, 1804. I was telling y'all how difficult it was to get like black actresses because nobody really wants to they don't identify themselves as black. It's real funny style, man. We'll put out a casting call for like an African American and don't get shit. But then we'll change the word up, but we want exotic women, and then a gang of black people will start sending in their resume. Because in their minds, they're like, I'm something else. I'm Central American. I'm Colombian. You jet black, but I'm El Salvadorian. LA is real big on that type of shit. Yeah? Oh, I'm Belizean. Yeah, that shit is heavy in LA. I'm telling you, that shit is real heavy. I'm not black, I'm Belizean. Yeah, I'm not black, I'm something else. Yeah? They got that shit heavy out here. Yeah, Santana Block, it's heavy. So, I'm Taino. That kills me. Motherfuckers be talking about they Taino and all this shit. It's crazy. So it's nothing for somebody who sees themselves from another tribe blasting on cats. Even in Chicago, remember, a lot of those is immigrant groups come over there who's jet black, and they're blasting each other. And you like, why are black people blasting each other? Because they don't think they're the same. They're blasting each other because they see themselves as different tribal groups. It ain't just about no Crips and Bloods. It ain't about this dude has a blue rag and a red rag. No, that nigga think he's from a whole different tribe. You dig?
Nothing but hate. You saw it, family. And this is the leader doing this. So, mind you, because that's why I only use clips from him, because if I use clips from his followers and other people in leadership positions with him, people are going to be like, oh, Tariq didn't say that. Oh, how do we know that that person is not a bot or an agent? Or what? That's your leader talking like that. But anyway, I'm about to produce the whole timeline of FBA being a hate group, so you know the history and the origin, and you know where they got the ideology from, and you can see that they are directly tied to white nationalists. So here we go. So I want to take this time to actually explain how this whole ideology came to be, because remember, FBA comes out of ADOS. It's a splinter group, but they still hold on to the ideology. So for you to really understand why FBA operates the way it operates and why they believe what they believe, we must first go back. I'm going to play a clip of Tariq Nasheed when he first started repping ADOS, then known as DOS.
Tonight. You say Yvette Carnell made up the DOS term. That's a good term. I'll take my hat off to her. The DOS term is a very good term. I actually like that. Descendants of slaves or descendants of slavery. Very good term. Now, I like that term. You know, I have my differences with Yvette Carnell, but sometimes people do good things. I like that term. American DOS, descendants of slaves, descendants of slavery. All right. I'm here. That's a very good codified term. I like that. And we need to jump on terms like that. You dig? Shout out to Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore. One thing I do commend them about, and Antonio, I've seen some of his videos. He brings good information. You know, they speak up for the African or the Black American experience.
As you heard, family, Tariq is such a grifter that he was trying to steal the term, but somebody in the audience, several people actually, in the live stream audience, made it clear that, hey, that's Yvette Carnell's term. And he had to acknowledge it. You could see it in his face that he didn't want to do it, but he had to. He tried to steal the term in true grifter fashion. So, as time would go on, he got down with ADOS. He got down with them, and then he started trying to push his own thing, which at first was Native Black American, but then he realized, hey, I can't trademark this. So he went back, and he couldn't get that to pop. So he went back to ADOS, and then he came up with the bright idea of foundational Black American, something that he could trademark and he could push. And remember, when he did that, he was still preaching that foundational Black American and ADOS is the same thing. Two terms that mean the same thing. Before he started beefing with Yvette Carnell and ADOS, and he made it a full-blown splinter group, But he still held on to the ADOS ideology. And what is the ADOS ideology, and who is Yvette Carnell? Well, Yvette Carnell is the founder and leader of ADOS. This is her, as you see on your screen right now, with the MAGA hat. She created DOS, which now is ADOS, in about 2016, 2017. Around the same time, she was a board member for PIFA. What is PIFA? Progressives for Immigration Reform. And all you have to do is go to irs.gov and you can look them up. They're a tax-exempt organization. You can get their tax records. And then when you look it up, there you see Yvette Carnell, Director. Yvette Carnell, Secretary. Yvette Carnell, Secretary again. That's right, Yvette Carnell. She was a board member, a high-ranking board member of a hate group. And some will say, well, show me that PIFA is a hate group. Because you're showing me that she's a board member, but you're not showing me that it's a hate group. Well, I'm going to do that for you right now. And we're going to start at the beginning with the man himself, John Tanton. He's now deceased, but he is the father of the modern anti-immigrant movement. Now, let's just read about him a little bit. John Tanton was the racist architect of the modern anti-immigrant movement. He created a network of organizations, the Federation for American Immigration Reform, the Center for Immigration Studies, and Numbers USA, that profoundly shaped the immigration debate in the U.S. About John Tanton. A retired Michigan ophthalmologist, Tanton had white nationalist beliefs and wrote that to maintain American culture, a European American majority is required. In his own words, I've come to the point of view that for European American society and culture to persist requires a European American majority, and a clear one at that. December 10, 1993, a letter to the late Garrett Harding, a controversial ecology professor. Now that we have learned about the racist architect of all this anti-immigrant bigotry that we see now we need to learn about the organizations he created and the networks that they spawn. Federation for American Immigration Reform. The Federation for American Immigration Reform, FAIR, is a group with one mission: to severely limit immigration into the United States. Although FAIR maintains a veneer of legitimacy that allows its principals to testify in Congress and lobby the federal government, this veneer hides much ugliness. FAIR leaders have ties to white supremacist groups and eugenicists and have made many racist statements. Its advertisement has been rejected because of its racist content. FAIR's founder, the late John Tanton, has expressed his wish that America remains a majority white population, a goal to be achieved presumably by limiting the number of non-whites who enter the country. One of the group's main goals is to upend the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965, which ended a decades-long racial quota system that limited immigration mostly to Northern Europeans. FAIR's president, Dan Stein, has called the act a mistake. And now that we have some background information on FAIR, the flagship organization, now we're going to learn about PIFA's connection to FAIR. The same PIFA that Yvette Carnell was a board member of, that she only resigned from being a board member of after she got outed and exposed for being a board member of PIFA, and people started to realize, hey, PIFA is just a white nationalist front. And she left them to maintain some level of legitimacy, even though I don't understand how she could maintain any legitimacy for being a part of a white nationalist front group, especially at that high of a rank. Because there's no way you're that stupid that you didn't realize what was going on. You knew. But she left to maintain some level of legitimacy. But here, we're going to get some background information into PIFA. Many speakers at PIFA's events have links to John Tanton, the racist founder of the modern anti-immigrant movement. Representatives from Numbers USA and the Center for Immigration Studies, groups founded by Tanton, participated. The incestuous nature of the Tanton network was embodied in the person of PIFA's executive director, Leah Durant, who formerly was employed by FAIR's legal arm, the Immigration Reform Law Institute. FAIR, which the Southern Poverty Law Center lists as a hate group, was founded by Tanton, who still serves on the group's board. For a time, Durant also was a part of Choose Black America, a FAIR front group supposedly representing the interests of African Americans concerned with high levels of immigration. The group disintegrated not long after its first press conference, which was paid for and stage managed by FAIR. Now, why is this so significant? It's significant because it shows that, one, FAIR is a hate group, and PIFA is a front group for that hate group. So PIFA is also a hate group. And more alarming is that PIFA and FAIR both go out their way to create African American groups to be fronts for them. Because if you don't know, Leah Durant is black. And as you just heard me, they created a black group just for her. They have created, platform, hired, and just signal boost many black organizations. Why? Because their number one strategy is to make black people the face of the anti-immigrant movement. To say, look, it's not racist. Look, we got black people saying that we have a problem with immigration too. That's what makes this so alarming. That's their whole thing. Be anti-democrat and be anti-immigration. To make black people the front group for that. Now it's starting to click for y'all. Why ADOS, Freedmen, and FBA, all they talk about all day is anti-democrat nonsense, and they also talk about anti-immigrant nonsense all day. That's all they do. That's all they do. If you look at all their timelines, it's just about how do we attack the Democrats, how do we launder the behavior of the Republicans, and how do we attack immigrants, especially black immigrants. Because that's another way they can really prove that, hey, this is not racial, because not only are black people out in front of the anti-immigrant movement, they are also attacking black immigrants the most. So this is not racial. This is just, Americans being concerned about immigration levels. Now it's clicking, right? It's clicking. Where Tariq went from hitting colors to now he hates black immigrants. And he loves Trump and the Republicans. It's starting to click now. Remember, he got this ideology from Yvette Carnell. Yvette Carnell, who works for PIFA. She used to work for PIFA. Not just work for them, a board member of PIFA. A white nationalist front group that goes around creating black groups to launder their behavior. And to better show you another example of how PIFA and FAIR uses these black organizations and creates them, I'm going to touch on the Black American Leadership Alliance. And we're going to show you how PIFA uses them. What Bala did not say in that letter or during a press conference in April when it called itself the African American Leadership Council was anything about its provenance. There's a good reason for that. It turns out that Bala is simply the latest front group for FAIR, the flagship of a network of anti-immigrant organizations founded by the white nationalist John Tanton. When it first emerged in April, Bala was openly sponsored by another FAIR front called PIPA, purportedly an organization concerned about the environmental impact of immigration. As late as June, the media spokesperson and phone number listed on Bala's press releases were associated with PIFA. Bala is not the first African American front group formed by FAIR. In 2006, an organization called Choose Black America appeared on the scene. Its black members were selected, flown to press conferences in Washington, lodged there by FAIR. The group's spokesman was a white FAIR official. Though CBA fell apart soon after its debut, the Taunton Network's dream of appearing to represent a rainbow coalition did not die with it. In 2011, FAIR briefly sponsored Blacks for Equal Rights Coalition, a LA-based anti-immigrant organization that has been celebrated by the white supremacist Council of Conservative Citizens. Bala's members includes a familiar cast of Taunton allies, notable among them Leah Durant, an African-American lawyer who is also PIFA's executive director. Durant, who once worked for FAIR's legal arm, also spoke at the press conference held to announce the creation of CBA. As you've seen, family, this looks so familiar. ADOS, FBA, Freedmen, they're looking a lot like the CBA and Bala and all the other organizations. Because we didn't even talk about U.S. blacks, all that. And as you also heard, Tanton's dream was to create a quote-unquote rainbow coalition of anti-immigrantness. Where he and all his rainbow quote-unquote coalition consisted of was trying to hire black people and platform black people to be anti-immigrant and to spew racist white talking points about immigrants. And say nothing about white immigrants. Attack Democrats and be silent on Republicans. Don't this look familiar? This is what I've been telling y'all for years. This has always been the case with this group. They are a hate group. See, you heard it, family. There's not pretty much more I need to say or do, because I'm going to make this the outro right here. Make sure you like the video, comment on the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell. Make sure you donate to me if you can. It is very important. And I also take requests. So if you donate to me and ask me to make a particular video, I will make it. Just hit me up. Let me know. And then, oh yeah, and if you donate to me on PayPal, for some reason I can't respond to people on PayPal. So if you need to like talk to me or say anything, just hit the email and shoot me an email. I'll get it. But again, thank you, family, for watching this video. Again, comments will be greatly appreciated. You know, help me in the algorithm. Likes will be greatly appreciated. Help me in the algorithm. And I don't have anything else to say. And on that note, family, peace.